which was pretty terrible. But anyways, with that said, we are about 5 minutes after, so I'm gonna quickly mute everybody, and then the speakers will unmute themselves when. So first of all, thanks everybody for attending another A2NewTech tonight. We have a lot of great pitches, but before we can jump into those, for those who are new to this, my name is Hein, like the ketchup without the Z. During the day, I run a branding studio based in Ipsy. So again, for first timers, welcome. We love having you here. We hope you enjoy this and you come back. For all the veterans, thank you again for your continued support of A2NewTech. A2NewTech is, at the end of the day, all about the community and supporting each other. Normally we run a poll right here, but this is not my Zoom. And so unfortunately I can't create the poll, but what we will do at the end of this is we'll go into breakout rooms. You guys can share what you do with each other and hopefully connect with each other and continue to further grow and build our community. Another really great way to build the community and engage with everybody is through the Slack channel. It's at madein.a2.com/Slack. I'm gonna chat it in here real quick so you guys have it. If you're not a part of the Slack, definitely join up. It's free, so you're probably already using Slack anyways. So another Slack community for you to be a part of. Really great group. If you have any questions or need resources, people are more than willing and to jump in and support. The first one that comes to mind is recently Brian Hayden. If you know him, he just asked if anybody knew of an immigration lawyer, and I think he got 5 or 6 responses, which was awesome. So again, like, join the Slack. There's going to be general announcements in there, open jobs, and a lot more. So yeah, that's enough of a pitch for the Slack channel. I'll quickly run through our sponsors and quickly thank them before we jump into our pitches. A2 Geeks, the Roger Rails, our co-organizers at the Entrepreneurship Clinic at U of M's Law School, as well as Ann Arbor Spark. Mentioning Ann Arbor Spark, for those who were here last year, A2 Tech 360 is coming back this year virtually next month. There'll be some classics like Tech Trek on September 25th. So that's just a quick plug there. There's going to be more information that comes out about it. And again, it'll be shared in Slack. And to celebrate A2 Tech 360, since this is a huge part of that community, we're putting together and organizing something with Spark to join in on the festivities. So with that said, we'll go ahead and jump into our pitches now. For first timers, what we're going to do is we have 4 awesome pitches from 4 great people. They're going to have 5 minutes to pitch. There's going to be a 5-minute Q&A afterwards. We'll do community announcements after that. So if you are looking for a co-founder or anything like that, you can share your announcements in chat at that point. So here's your time to kind of think about what yours will be. And then after that, we'll break out into little breakout rooms and just kind of chat for a little bit. And so from there, we'll jump into our pitches. We have some great ones. First with MintyBrain, that's with Dan Zakon. I'm sorry, I mispronounced your name there, Dan.
Zakon is good.
Zakon, cool. So what MintyBrain does is they help elementary and middle school students learn math by building through a 3D gaming platform called Smartyville that allows students to visualize mathematical concepts. Really cool. After that, we'll have John Mark Pirro present SimplyGrown, an indoor growing platform which provides an aesthetic and effortless way to connect with nature, which we can all use right now since we're all quarantined away inside. Third, we have Brandon Martin with Reaction Tech, which uses technology to make football safer by enhancing situational awareness and real-time coaching. And rounding the pitches out, we have Prashant Salla with FixMyCar, the fastest and easiest way to get your car fixed anywhere. So with that said, I'm going to hand the reins over to Dan for him to share what MintyBrain is. So Dan, whenever you are ready, feel free to take it away. Share your screen, take it away.
All right. So everybody see that now?
Yep.
All right. So, hi everyone, my name is Dan Zakon. I am a rising senior at the University of Michigan studying computer science, and I'm also the founder of MintyBrain Gaming. We're building an educational gaming platform to help kids practice math and improve their confidence in their math abilities. So when I was younger, I was always very creative and artistic. I was generally a pretty good student, but somewhere along the way, I got left behind in math. I know I'm not alone in feeling this, but in my own personal experience, by the time I'd reached around middle school, I basically convinced myself that I just didn't have a math brain, that math wasn't for me, and I questioned why we were even learning it in school in the first place. It didn't seem very relevant. But I was very lucky. Around the time of high school, I got introduced to the Unity game engine. And I started tinkering with this software, and immediately the value of math became clear to me. If Unity was the canvas, then math and code were like the paint and the paintbrushes. And I started to understand that math didn't just exist within classrooms and in school, but math was everywhere. And all it took were some 3D visualizations for me to understand that. So I became obsessed with this, and over the next 6 years or so, 6 or 7 years, I started building games. I ended up releasing about 10 or so games on the App Store, and you can check out my portfolio of all those games on danzakon.com. And more recently, I've started working with some of the top game studios in the mobile space, and I've been learning a lot about engagement psychology, which is the stuff that makes TikTok and Instagram and all those platforms so engaging, and the reason why these mobile game studios can get so many downloads. Basically, the study of how we get people to release dopamine very, very frequently. And so about a year ago, I had an idea based on that. What if I could use all this engagement that is used for all these other platforms, but actually direct it at something good? What if I could engage kids in something that's very useful for them? And so that's education. I ended up talking about this idea a lot and pitching it in 2 competitions. First, the Optimize Innovation Challenge, and then the Learning Levers Educational Technology Challenge. And MintyBrain was fortunate enough to win first place prize in the Learning Levers Challenge this year and receive the full funding amount from Optimize. And so I headed into the summer with a lot of momentum to build the platform, which is Smartyville. Smartyville is a cross-platform math arcade. In its first instantiation, it's directed at the K through 2 grade band, and its content aligns with the Common Core curriculum for those grades. Basically, in Smartyville, each game takes the form of a math puzzle, and in order to complete that puzzle, you have to solve a math problem. But the big difference between Smartyville and all the other math platforms on the market are that in Smartyville, it's the actual solving of the math problem that is the fun and engaging part. Whereas in many of the other math platforms, it's all the other stuff. It's the fluff, the metagame features that are really enhanced to grab students' attention, but it doesn't actually teach them to develop a love for math. We can talk more about my competition and other business logistics and Q&A after this, but what I'm really trying to do with Smartyville is deliver the kind of transformative experience that I had with math at a young age to kids when they're at an even younger age, through building this platform where they can interact with and visualize math concepts in 3D. So you can think of Smartyville as basically a companion to the in-class material that kids are learning. It's like an affordable tutor where the more they play, the more they strengthen fundamental math skills. And we know that developing fluency in these fundamental skills becomes increasingly important as kids get to higher and higher grades because math builds on itself. Smartyville is also very data-driven, which allows us to build these new games rapidly on the same foundations and use one mechanic to represent a whole host of different concepts, as you can see in this graphic. Smartyville also employs a set of personalized learning algorithms, which ensures that no two kids' experience on the platform is the same, and that the platform always moves at the perfect pace for them. Time's running out here, so I'll close by saying that Smartyville is coming very soon. It's in its alpha stages right now, and my only ask today is that if you'd like to experience the alpha, if you are a parent or a teacher or know of parents and teachers that might be interested and know students who could provide feedback, please do reach out to me. I would love to hear your thoughts and get your hands on the earlier version of Smartyville. So thank you very much for listening.
All right, thanks, Dan. That was a really great pitch, and I personally too felt like I was bad at math growing up, so I could definitely see a lot of myself in that. So round of applause for him virtually. And now we jump into our Q&A with Dan. Feel free to type in your questions right now. I'll try to read them out loud, and Dan will read them too. And I guess as we're waiting for the questions to come in, oh, it looks like we got one from Eric. Web, mobile, or desktop, or all of them?
Yeah. So Smartyville is going to be cross-platform, which means it'll be available on iOS, macOS, as well as Android. So that's Chromebooks, desktop computers, as well as tablets. Unity makes it easy to distribute across all those platforms.
Roger said it seemed very timely for COVID.
Yeah, so it is timely due to COVID, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to launch it in time for this fall. I had anticipated launching at the beginning of this fall, but that just doesn't seem as realistic. So my hope is that I'll be able to still use COVID, not use COVID, that sounds horrible, but capitalize on the wave of parents who will be interested in virtual education due to COVID, and generate some content and like crowdfunding, like Indiegogo and what's the other one? Kickstarter, to hopefully get some excitement and buzz about the platform before it launches.
Cool.
Business model is going to be a subscription model, so just straightforward $9.99 a month. Are you targeting schools, private learning platforms like ABC Mouse? ABC Mouse is a great way to think about it. I would say kind of their model, what Age of Learning is doing with their platforms like ABC Mouse and Adventure Academy, like a private subscription model. And then one day I'd like to get into distributing to schools and also providing a set of tools for teachers to help them assign and grade homework more efficiently. How have you engaged students in the K through 2 age group as you develop the early stage release? So we've done a little bit of focus groups just on like testing different characters and testing some of the mechanics of each of the games. And what we're going to do increasingly this fall is, now that the alpha is ready, is actually get the full platform into the hands of K through 2 age kids. And that's why my ask is for people to just reach out to me about that, because I'm currently looking for as many kids to test this as possible. Do we have time for a couple more? One more?
Yep. I think we have time for you to answer the next 3.
Cool. Okay. So do students compete with each other almost like Tetris or against the computer? In its first instantiation, it will be like a solo player thing, so no competition. But I do think competition is a great way to facilitate engagement with math. I think a platform that does this really well is Mathletics. They have like this head-to-head problem solving thing, and so one day I would love to implement that. With the digital divide, will the application be available offline? Yes, the application will be available offline. So many out of the game types for reinforcement. Refresh, what remakes this different? Algorithms. I've used many in the classrooms, no charge, so the kids can use. Be free.
Sandy, would you mind rewording that question? I myself am struggling a little bit to understand, and I think obviously Dan wants to answer your question. What's that for now? We'll move on to Cheryl's question.
How long do you develop it and test it? So I've been working on it for about 4 months independently this summer. So I plan to keep developing it throughout this year, and hopefully I'll launch at some point in 2021. Yeah, and I test it. I distribute it through things like iOS Test Flight, which allows people to download it before the actual release on the App Store.
And it looks like Eric is reaching out to help out. So
Awesome.
take a look at that and reach out to Eric. And this is one of the beauties of this happening, real life.
Yeah. All right, great. Thank you guys so much.
Cool. All right. So feel free to continue to ask Dan questions. Oh, here we go. I guess we'll just round around. That was this last one here.
Yeah, so one of the differences is definitely the personalized learning algorithms, but I would say also if you check out any of ABC Mouse or all these, what's the Age of Learning's other one, Adventure Academy, most of them are flat 2D games, and they don't really emphasize the actual games being fun. But my background comes from like 3D hyper-casual mobile games, which are very, very engaging. So my value proposition or my thesis is that I can make these games actually be like 10 times more engaging and fun in the style of these addictive hyper-casual mobile games than any of the other offerings out there. Yeah, so yeah, exactly. Most of the games right now are very old looking. They look like they were made in the 2000s and they're in 2D, and it's time for sort of a revamp of this whole industry. So yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So again, thanks Dan for the pitch. And if you can support Dan and his ass, definitely reach out to him. I mean, he's a student working on this, like, so it's really awesome. Like it makes me feel really bad about what I accomplished in college. So help him out. All right, so with that, we have John Mark Pirot next with SimplyGrown. I'm gonna spotlight you. Looks like I can see you, John Mark. Cool, and it's all yours. So you wanna share your screen real quick and then we'll get started.
Yeah, great. Thank you, Hein, and thanks for everyone for having me. Oops, let's go where'd my thing go? Uh-oh. There we are. Okay, cool. Thanks for having me, everyone. Like Hein said, my name is John Mark Pirot. I'm the founder of SimplyGrown. I've lived in San Francisco for the last 7 years or so, working for a number of hardware tech startups. And SimplyGrown is an indoor growing platform to make nature accessible to all. So one of the problems we are trying to solve for is that people like plants, but they can't keep them alive. And there's two real, the two things with this is that most indoor spaces, especially in urban areas and apartments, they lack the right environment, often being light. And the second is the human factor, and that's that people lack the time and knowledge to take care of plants properly. Maybe they go on vacation too much, or they don't want to go through the learning curve of understanding which plants need what water and how often to water them, and also spending the time to water and prune their plants. So the way we try and solve for this is to make it effortless to grow plants and to keep them alive. And we do that by creating the right environment, which as a side thing, it also expands the options of what you can grow. So if you maybe before you could only grow low light plants in an apartment, by creating the right environment, we could grow high light plants, we could grow herbs, lettuce, flowers, and other things that you traditionally can't grow. So our first product is an indoor growing platform, and it provides an effortless way to connect with nature. It is a modular pod-based system with a vertical form factor. And the pods allow you to, pop in whatever kind of plant you want, whether that's a pre-grown house plant or a seed-based plant like basil, mint, chives, or something like that. There's a reservoir at the back of the unit, which is the most efficient use of the volume of the unit. And you fill up the unit, you add the pod, and then the app will do the lighting automatically, and then the nutrients are contained within the pods. So it's very modular, it's very low touch, and it allows you to just plug and play. I like to say it's a Model S aesthetic with an Nespresso-like convenience. Our first product is focused on apartment use. And again, it allows you to grow houseplants and herbs and produce, which is something our competitors don't really do. Here's a couple more product shots on the right. At the top right, you have the wood and white form factor. We want to make it very aesthetic and modern. We know that people care about how their indoor spaces look. And then that bottom photo is the houseplant module with a couple of traditional common houseplants. So why now? Even pre-COVID, people are spending more on plants in their personal space. The US home and garden market is 48 billion as of 2019, and 2.5 billion of that was spent on houseplants alone. 35% of households in the US bought plants in 2019. And indoor plant sales specifically are outpacing outdoor plant sales at a growth rate of 3.5x. So indoor plant sales are 3.5x outpacing the growth of outdoor plant sales from big box retailers like Home Depot. Another reason why now is a good time is that indoor farming tech is becoming affordable. We're seeing this with vertical farming on the rise, vertical indoor farming. Specifically, the LED lights and the IoT sensors are so cheap now that we could offer this at a price point that is attainable for people in their houses. Lastly, millennials, doesn't have to be millennials, but they love plant parenthood. Millennials are driving a lot of houseplant sales, and millennials were 85% of the US population that took up gardening last year were millennials. So there's a big interest in the younger populations driving houseplant sales. A little bit about the team. So my name is John Mark. My background is in hardware and software tech startups. I recently worked at the indoor farming unicorn Plenty, which is where I fell in love with vertical farming and the vertical form factor, and I learned how to grow great plants that way. And then my business partner, David, he has a traditional design, build, maintain green wall company that's doing very well. One of his pain points is that he's very regionally based and that he has to send maintenance crews to all of his green walls. So SimplyGrown is a way that he can scale that out and we can ship that to people's homes. So between the two of us, we have the product and engineering and the plant and the botany expertise to deliver this. A couple of things we're looking for is industrial, mechanical, and design for manufacturing experience. So whether you have direct experience in this yourself or you have contacts for high volume consumer goods, whether that's contract manufacturers or designers, I would love to reach out and get in touch with that. Also crowdfunding and marketing expertise. So we plan to launch our first product in 6 months on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. We're working with a few agencies, but we would love any help you have there. And then lastly, just get in touch. If you want to follow us on Instagram, if you want to go to our website and give us your email, we'd love to keep you updated with progress. We'd love to hear your feedback, how this may or may not work for you, and anything you would like to see in the product. So I've included the contact info here. Maybe I'll send it out to Hein in the group afterwards. But for that, I think we can go ahead and take questions.
Awesome. Thanks, John Mark. I know living in a loft apartment myself, I can definitely see myself using the product. So, and also I'm terrible at growing plants. We got a question here.
From Vinod. Okay, pricing, the great question. So we're still working through our BOM cost. We think we can sell it at around $350 for this 9-module unit, which is profitable for us. And we're hoping and we think based off our initial feedback that that's a price point that's attainable for some people in cities. Special plant breeds for green walling. Yeah, great question. So you could do a lot of herbs and lettuces, and that's like a more traditional vertical farming. On the houseplant side, there are varietals that work better than others. Some are very droopy. Some you don't want it to grow out too far. So there are breeds there. My business partner, David, he's been running this green wall company for 15 years now. And so he has this whole arsenal. He's got a nursery where he's growing some of these best green wall plants. So there will be, a select few choices to start with, and then we plan to expand that offering. Yes, absolutely. So how do we facilitate refilling the water? So there's an app, and our plan is to use a capacitance level sensor, which will span the vertical dimension of the back of the unit. So with the capacitance sensor, you will get the actual level of water versus a float valve, which is really only going to tell you when you have low water. And then we're going to offer a vacation mode, which dims the lights, which then when the plants have less light, they're actually going to use less water. So that should extend the reservoir to about 3 weeks. And then in order to refill it, you would pop the pod out from the face of the module and you'd fill it through the hole that the pod sits in, because we want to use the back of the reservoir. Since we want to keep a really slim profile, we can use that back profile, which allows us to fit the most volume of water into the module. Legal marijuana, not really useful for marijuana. Marijuana is big. Marijuana is huge and it takes up a lot of space, and it's often better in controlled environments versus an open environment, what we're doing. So maybe you could do seedlings, you could do like starters and clones in this, but that's really not the market we're going after. How does the module attach to the wall? Very good question. I think it's a lot to ask someone to put this on their wall. I'm also a photographer, and so I've sold a lot of prints, and so our plan is to use rather a traditional hanging base system or a cleat, like a French cleat, to put this to the wall. There's a weight consideration here. So you can only put so much weight on drywall. And so we'll use drywall anchors and we'll ship it with drywall anchors. We think it'll be about 15 pounds for the base module. So 1 to 2 drywall anchors is all you'll need to attach to the wall. Also with that form factor, you could set it on the counter against the wall and you could attach it that way as well. I feel like you should have a cheaper small set to be available initially and maybe around the 50, 100 price range. Great feedback. I think that's great. And that's one of the considerations we're thinking with this crowdfunding campaign is, rather than building out all the bells and whistles now, we're really just trying to validate the market. And by offering something smaller and simpler, that's a great opportunity to do that. And that 9 module unit you saw on the images, we're not locked on that. We can offer we're considering a 1 to 2 plant option as well, which would lower that price point. One of my competitors, Click and Grow, they did a similar thing in which they started with this small 3 module option, which was $99. And then now they've expanded out and they have this larger one.
We have a couple more minutes, so any more questions for John Mark?
Largest market, yep, New York and Chicago. Urban areas, over 1 million people really. Chicago and New York specifically because of the dark and cold winters and the lower light, northern latitudes. Anywhere where you have very dense populations and a lot of people. And one thing worth noting is we're starting with the home and the direct-to-consumer market, but our eventual goal is to get into commercial and work with commercial real estate developers and work with corporate offices and really play a huge corporate wellness spin and really dig into the benefits, the productivity increases, the mental health benefits of being around plants, and really getting into that commercial space. But we really want to start with the small product. How much energy does the grow light use? So about 15 watts for the light, which is higher. It's definitely lower than an incandescent bulb. And that light is on about 12 hours a day. So 15 watts, 12 hours, that's 3 kilowatt hours a day, which depending on where you're at, that's maybe 30 to 40 cents of light a day. And then one thing with the light too is, with putting this in someone's space, grow lights can be very bright. And so we're going to have the option to dim the light via the app, as well as adjust the color temperature of the light. So some grow lights have a pink hue or a white hue. We really want to match architectural spaces. So we'll have the ability to change both the light intensity and then offer it with a different color temperature as well.
Awesome. So I think that's about our time for a Q&A, but if you have any further questions for John Mark, feel free to chat them. John, Mark, thank you so much for spending the time. I know I'm definitely gonna get myself one when it's available. All right.
Great. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks, everyone. Tower garden. That's what got me into this. I had a tower garden and I didn't like it. It was way too much maintenance for me. And I was like, I could build a better version, but that's great. Tower garden is great. They grow great produce. It has a huge market. They have a good following. That's great. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, I can build something better. It's usually the start of a good business. So we'll move on to our third pitch here with Brandon Martin from Reaction Tech. So I'm going to spotlight you here, Martin. Oh, sorry, Brandon. And then you're going to share your screen and then we'll jump in.
Can you see the screen?
Yeah, so if you want to start.
Okay. My name is Brandon Martin, and I'm the founder of Reaction Technologies. I just moved from Austin, Texas to
Hey, Brandon.
Michigan area. Yes,
You want to like click the just to presenter mode real quick.
there you go.
There you go.
Okay. Yeah, so I just recently moved from Austin, Texas in February. Let me go back. Okay. Situational awareness is a fundamental building block for effective participation in player safety in many sports. In sports like basketball, soccer, and lacrosse, situational awareness can have a crucial impact on player development. In sports such as football, awareness is a huge factor in head and neck injuries. When players lead with the top of their helmet while tackling, injuries increase. It is estimated that 50% of all high school football injuries are associated with poor tackling. I'm going to share this quick video, a quick minute video, and just know watching these videos, these type of hits happen at every level of football. If you watch on this video, the player that's coming in to make the tackle comes in and lowers his head using the crown of his helmet. This is a good angle to show it. Lowering the head leads to spinal and neck injuries. Our core product provides an innovative technology that teaches situational awareness in a repeatable manner. This lightweight and easy implemented device uses a small screen that mounts on a body harness or a tackling dummy, and it provides a display back to the athlete. Each time the device is used, coaches can provide immediate feedback to the athletes to assist them with proper technique. When used in a repeatable manner, athletes can build muscle memory for proper tackling technique and enhancing the athlete's abilities in other sports. So this is our product being used in football. It forces the player to have their head up. We are not only just a football product, we see our product being used in basketball, soccer, rugby, boxing as a situational training device to help enhance the athlete's abilities. Our team will be a key driving force into making traction into the market through the connections they all bring to the team. Our current advisors are sports tech entrepreneurs, ex-NFL player, and ESPN radio host. We are currently patent pending and refining our first prototype. we are looking to have a pilot program in the fall, and due to COVID happening, football will be going around year round this year. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about our business.
Awesome. Thanks, Brandon. So with that, feel free to shoot your questions to Brandon. I'll go ahead and do one right now. Like, so you mentioned COVID. Could you talk maybe a little bit more about how COVID affects like the business?
So with COVID going on, it's even more reason for our product to be used, because you're not going to actually be able to hit each other in practice and be in close quarters. So our product will be able to give coaches a tool to help build fundamentals and technique. And it helps with our business because there are 16 states that are playing high school football in the spring this year. So there will be football year round this year.
As for those writing questions, I don't want to take up all the questions here. Oh, here we go.
So I got involved with this from seeing a 13-year-old kid becoming paralyzed from making a tackle with the crown of his helmet. I played the game of football. I love the game of football, and to see a kid seriously affected through the game that I love and so many people love made me want to have an impact on that type of injury. And so I started this. It started as a dream 4 years ago, and we are getting closer and closer each day. The videos are definitely hard to watch, and like I said, this happens on every level of football. I don't want to necessarily talk bad about the game of football because, like I said, I love the game of football. But we just want to be able to give coaches a tool to help teach proper tackling technique.
Can you talk a little bit more about how the product works?
Say it again.
Oh, it looks like we have a couple of questions here about like how the product actually works.
Okay, so the product, how it works is it's an accessory to a tackling dummy. Schools, organizations already have tackling dummies. Our product wraps around the tackling dummy, and when the kid is coming in to hit the tackling dummy, the coach would change the number on the screen. And so what it does, it forces the player to have their head up and using proper tackling technique. We're looking at a subscription-based model right now, and we're working on our pricing point, but we're thinking between $199, about $199 right now.
Andy S., could you explain the application for the product in other sports, like basketball?
Yes. And so in basketball, lacrosse at the youth levels, a big thing in basketball is dribbling with your head down, not seeing the court. And so this will be able to give a coach, a trainer, a tool to help train seeing the court, having your eyes up, and seeing the situation. It's pretty universal that situational awareness is fundamental in pretty much every sport. In the contact sports, this can be the difference between an injury and not an injury.
How many units would a team actually buy?
So that's a great question. Let's say the high school level. At a high school level, schools usually have 20 to 30 tackling dummies. Our product is something that you buy 5, you buy 10, because you can, once teams come in, you can split them up. Your linebackers are over here with one, your corners are over here with one. So this is not something that we're going to sell just one to one school or one team. It's going to be multiples. Yes, we have a few more ideas about next level products. This is just our most basic model product. Yes, the device will have to take a beating. We're working with an engineering company in Saline right now to get all the kinks out the product and all that good stuff. So how would you get the warning? The coach would be in front of the tackling dummy, which we will move the coaches from behind the tackling dummy into the front of the tackling dummy. And so when the kid is coming in to hit the tackling dummy, the coach will be able to see the number on the screen. If the kid can't tell me the number on the screen, automatically we know that that kid is not using proper tackling technique. Thank you, Lisa. Yes, this whole thing truly came about for trying to make a difference. I literally played the game, knew nothing about business, nothing about it. From seeing this story has definitely changed my life tremendously, and I truly want to make a difference. Yes, Sean, we are looking for schools. So right now, in this fall, we are building out 24 prototypes, and we are looking for schools all around the country to come in and test and use as a pilot program to get feedback and all that good stuff. We actually see ourselves being ready to go to sell our product by January when they start actually getting ready for the next football season and for those schools that are playing in the spring.
One last question. Looks like Vinod's asking, it's used for training and not in the actual games.
Yes, this is 100% a training tool. We want you to use our product 300 times throughout the week, and everything that you learned, through the practice and through technique, the muscle memory, you can take that from the practice field, everything you learned, and use it in the game, correct tackling technique.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you continue to have questions for Brandon, feel free to shoot them to him. Brandon, thank you for taking the time today to share this awesome, not only the awesome product, but the awesome just drive behind it. And if you want to help out with helping ensure like these prototypes are out there, any football coaches or schools, especially locally here, that will want to try this out, connect them with Brandon.
Yes, you can connect with us at info@reaction-tech.com. And thank you, Han, for giving me this opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So we're going to round things out here with Prashant Salla of FixMyCar. So Prashant, whenever you're ready, you want to share your screen and we'll be good to go.
All right.
All right.
All right. So think of the last time you had to go to an auto repair shop to get your car fixed. I'm sure it was extremely inconvenient to drop your car, get a ride back, pick up the car the next day or so, only to find out that you got overcharged. Now, the whole process is extremely frustrating and expensive. What if I told you there is a way where you can get your car checked out by a professional mechanic within a few hours from the time you think of your car problem to the time the mechanic shows up at your doorstep? Hey guys, my name is Prashant Salla and I am the founder and CEO of FixMyCar. We are the fastest and the easiest way to get your car fixed anywhere you might be. We've built a platform to connect you with local, independent, certified auto mechanics in your community who already have the skills and the tools to fix 80% of the repairs in your driveway. Now, who are these guys? These mechanics are a mix of full-time mechanics who work at a shop 9 to 5, and they work with us outside of the hours and on the weekends. Some of them work for themselves as a mobile mechanic, and we just happen to give them consistent jobs. We've recently seen some of the mechanics who work at shops full-time quit their jobs and work with us full-time. The biggest driving force for them to make this move is the fact that we can afford to pay them twice as much as the industry pays them. On the customer side, all you have to do is to go online, click a few buttons on fixmycar.io, and one of our certified mechanics is going to come to your house within a few hours. Now, here's the most interesting part. Not only it is highly convenient to use this service even on a Sunday afternoon, but also 20 to 30% more affordable than going to a shop. We price match any estimate that you get from a shop, even if you don't know what's wrong with your car, which is 60 to 70% of the requests that we get. Our mechanics have all the tools to be able to diagnose your issue and then fix the car on site. So think of us as the Amazon Prime of automotive repair, except we don't really charge any membership fees. The business model, we take a 30% cut from each transaction. This is because we do all the scheduling, pricing, we facilitate the payments, and also provide warranty support after the job. Our cost of acquisition is low enough to make money on each transaction. So we are cash flow positive on a unit economic level. Now, how does COVID affect us? We've seen the customer searches online for in-home services go up a lot. On the mechanic side, we've seen an explosion of mechanics trying to join our platform because they've been laid off from the repair shops. So where are we right now? We have raised $250,000 from someone I met at Babs Underground in Ann Arbor. We recently crossed 1,000 bookings on our platform. So we've fixed more than 1,000 cars. We are operating in 3 markets right now, Southeast Michigan, Los Angeles, California, and Dallas, Texas. And we're doing about $50K a month top line revenue. We are at a stage right now that we've proven the unit economics. We're growing 35% month over month. And we've started to see an increase in organic traffic and repeat customers. So that's why we are raising a $1.5 million seed round to accelerate our growth into newer markets. We literally require 0 to minimal upfront costs to launch in a new market, which we've proven already. After this round, we are confident to be in 10 markets by the end of next year. So the ask is, if you guys have any intros to local angels or VCs, that would be really appreciated. I just got an email from my current investor 20 minutes ago saying that he's willing to kick off this round by investing at least $50K. So that's great. We have an all-star team to make all of this happen. And I'd love to answer any questions. I'm going to put my email. If you guys have any questions outside of this, I'm more than happy to reconnect after this event. Thank you.
Awesome, Prashant. Appreciate that. Looks like we already have some questions like rolling in, so feel free to read them out and answer them.
Yeah. Let me make sure I start at the right point.
Looks like Vinod was the first one to ask a question.
Great. So it will be used for training, not in actual matches. I'm not sure if I understand the question.
Yeah. First question here I see is, one major issue with car repair is honesty and integrity. How can you ensure that?
Yeah, so that's something that we found out with our market research. Trust and transparency are the 2 biggest issues. So the way we solve this problem is the mechanic is working right outside of your house. So you can talk to him. He's going to click pictures. We have documentation after the job that you can see. And we have aftermarket support. So you can call us anytime. We can have someone come out the next day. Okay, so Greg is asking, how are you generating written estimates before work begins? So yeah, we are text first. So the mechanic, when he diagnoses any issue, he's gonna create an estimate and send it out to you via text and email. You look at the estimate, parts and labor, and all of the repairs involved. So it is an itemized estimate that you can approve. We only charge what you approve. So if the mechanic needs to add anything new, he's going to send out another estimate, which you can take a look and approve again. Okay, what's the minimum check size? The minimum check size is 50K for now. So yeah, hey Shane, if you have anyone who's interested or who might be interested, I'd love to touch base with them later on. Roger's asking, seems like it would apply only to cars out of warranty. Yeah, so mostly out of warranty cars. If you have a warranty and if you can go to a dealership, you most likely will. But if you value convenience, then we can do the same job as the dealerships can. Are you going to expand to other cities? Robert's asking. Yeah, so we are in Los Angeles, California, Dallas, and Southeast Michigan as of now. And like I said, we're going to be in 10 markets by the end of next year. Who guarantees the work? So we provide 2-year, 24,000 miles guarantee, which is almost double than any shop that you can find. Because of the fact that we've run some numbers and we've seen we don't have a lot of comebacks. Are you partnering with parts? So yeah, we have a nationwide partnership with O'Reilly and AutoZone. So they give us discounts. They are every other mile. The mechanics can go out to any shop that they want and get access to parts. Greg is asking, are you engaged with various state departments governing automotive repairs? Yeah, it's kind of like a gray area. So we are not considered as a typical automotive repair because we have mechanics who take on the liability. But we are here to provide any support to the customers if a certain mechanic is not available. How do you deal with cases needing a troubleshooting first, part sourcing? Yeah, so yeah, 2 trips. Most likely it's going to be 2 trips if the parts are not available at the same time. Most cases, the parts are available next day in the morning. Steven's asking, I have some solid strategic reasons. Hey, Steve. Yeah, so I can touch base with you later. Sean's asking, how do you see macro trends? Yeah, so autonomous driving, electrification, there's moving parts in the car. As long as whoever drives the car, we don't really care. As long as the wheels are moving, as long as there's mechanical parts, we can fix them. And there's a lot of strategic partnerships in this space that we can do before these things become mainstream. The 20% that can be done, what about? Yeah, so we're in the process of working with, so the question is, what do you do if the mechanic says, I can't fix your car, you need to go to a shop? And that does happen. If you have a blown head gasket, if you have any major repair. So right now we're kind of talking to shops in a way that we have a list of partner shops in the local community. And we work with them to give them customers for all the jobs that we can do. So it's a win-win. And so yeah, that's like 10 to 15% of the jobs that we can do. The 20, yeah, so Vinod's asking, do you have a membership or retainership kind of arrangement? Right now, I mean, we've kind of thought about subscription models, but right now it's, if you need a car repair, you get a mechanic out there as soon as possible. So that's where we work right now. But yeah, I'm glad you guys are asking so many questions. Are you open to being acquired down the road by, maybe not. I mean, it's a big market. There's a lot of things we can do. So we're just scratching the surface right now. Like mobile auto repair is not even 1% of all the repairs. So imagine food delivery businesses in 2015. I think we are not even there with mobile repair. Other mechanic contractors, they're all contractors. If the AB5 law, which is going on in California, if it kind of expands to more cities, it's a proven model where you can just move all these mechanics from contractors to employees and still have a healthy profit margin. You would just have to compromise on the speed of the service at that point.
Well,
Steve's asking
with that, that's our 5 minutes. So obviously feel free to continue to respond in chat. But Prashant, I appreciate you pitching FixMyCar today and also endorsing Babs. So if you're looking for potential investments, hang out there. Well, not right now, but obviously when things are okay, go to Babs because that's where you maybe might be a future investor.
There you go.
So with that, I want to first of all thank all our presenters tonight. Like they were all really great, very varied backgrounds. If you can help them and support them, please do. If you know somebody who can as well, please reach out to them and like let's make sure that they get the help they need and further kind of represent not only Ann Arbor but the state to kind of show what we're doing here. We're in our community announcement section, so if you have a meetup to promote or you're trying to hire for someone, looking for collaborators, anything at all, anything you want to announce, feel free to type them into the chat and we'll grab them and share